Good evening and welcome to tonight's hearing. The hearing being conducted is in accordance with with provisions in Nebraska statutes which require that governing bodies conduct public hearings and take input regarding proposed budgets and property tax requests. Pursuant to Section 84-1412 of the Nebraska statutes, the public is hereby informed that a current copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is published in the Teaching and Learning Center on the North Wall. Notice of tonight's hearing was published in accordance with law in the Daily Record on September 10th, 2024, and the district website on September 13, 2024. As indicated on the agenda, there will be one hearing this evening regarding the 2024-2025 property tax request for Douglas County School District 0001. The Board of Education welcomes public input concerning the property tax request. Requests to be heard forms are available at the table by the door, and members of the public wishing to comment on the property tax request may fill out a form now if they have not already done so. Completed forms should be returned to staff seated by the door or to Dr. McFarland as the Secretary of the Board of Education. The public will be recognized in numeric order by the number shown on the top of their form. The President will call upon visitors wishing to speak according to the number placed at the top of their form. And the board respectfully asks that you limit presentations to 5 minutes so all may have an opportunity to speak. The Secretary of the Board will notify you when you have 1 minute remaining and when you have 30 seconds remaining. As a reminder, with passage of LB 83 by the Nebraska Legislature, the Board of Education is legally obligated to require any member of the public desiring to address the board to identify yourself, including an address and name of any organization you may represent. As a result, please state and spell your first and last name, state your current address, and let us know if you are here representing any particular organization. In addition, we ask that you remain seated until called to the podium. Please remain at the podium and do not approach the board table. If you have materials to distribute, please let Dr. McFarland know and she will get them from you. Dr. McFarland, roll call, please.
Cassidy.
Here.
Erdenberger.
Present.
Full.
Here.
Head.
Present. Present.
Holman.
Present.
Juarez. Kratky. Smith.
Here.
Thielen.
Here.
8 present.
Thank you. All right, so for this evening's hearing, Mr. Shane Ryan will be presenting information on the property tax request for Douglas County School District 0001. Information regarding the property tax request has been published in this meeting's online agenda and on the website, and on the district's website at openbooks.ops.org. The Board of Education may make additional changes or modifications to the proposed property tax request between now and the required adoption, which is currently scheduled for the special board meeting on Friday, September 20th. Mr. Ryan, if we could begin the hearing. Thank you.
Vice President Smith, members of the board, and Superintendent Ray, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening. Tonight I am presenting the proposed property tax request for the fiscal year 2024-25. I will be focusing my remarks this evening on the 4 primary funds that comprise the district's property tax levy: the general fund, the bond fund, the special building fund, and the qualified capital purpose undertaking fund. Valuable feedback was received during the preparation of the budget and this property tax request from the board's Budget and Audit Committee, chaired by Mr. Head, Mr. Ray, and the Executive Council and their leadership teams. This presentation includes information previously presented to the Budget and Audit Committee members over the last several months, as well as detailed small group budget workshops that were held with all board members at the end of July. Highlights from the proposed budget includes true property tax relief while maximizing the amount of property tax revenue allowed by state statute for the district. The combined property tax request for 2024-25 for the 4 levy funds for Omaha Public Schools and Educational Service Unit number 19 will be decreasing by 10.9 cents in the combined levy. The proposed budget includes a board override of the LB 243 revenue caps, providing an additional 4% increase in overall revenues for the general fund and special building fund. The Nebraska legislature passed LB 243 in 2023, and it was signed into law by Governor Pillen. LB 243 imposes a cap on the amount that revenue can increase for school districts' general funds and special building funds. The base revenue cap for all school districts is a 3% increase with additional allowances provided for growth in total student membership, limited English proficiency student membership, and student poverty. LB 243 also provides an option for an additional 4% increase in revenues for a school district of our size with the passage of a resolution by a 70% supermajority of the Board of Education. The Nebraska Department of Education calculates a certified property tax request authority for all school districts based on LB 243. This year, the district's base certified property tax request authority, including student growth allowances, is $292.9 million, a decrease of $40.4 million from last year. This reduction is primarily attributable to a $31.7 million increase in state aid and a $9.1 million increase in other state receipts. The 4% board override provision allows for an additional $27.9 million to be added to the property tax request. The proposed budget includes a request for the board to pass a resolution to levy for the additional 4% revenue increase. This budget and resolution would provide for a total increase in revenues for the general fund and special building fund of $30.7 million, or a 4.18% increase from the 2023-24 budget. Without this board override, total revenue growth would be $2.8 million, or 0.39%. This slide shows the property tax request for each of the 4 leviable funds. The table on the left compares this year's tax request to last year's. For 2024-25, the total property tax request is $381.2 million. This amount includes the Douglas and Sarpy County Treasurer's 1% commission. This tax request results in a total levy rate of $1.10.8. This is a decrease in the levy of 10.9 cents from the previous year. The total levy request is comprised of 4 separate components. The general fund levy of 90.235 cents, a decrease of 8.409 cents. The special building fund levy of 3 cents, a decrease of 2.5 cents. The bond fund levy is 16.308 cents, unchanged from last year. The qualified capital purpose undertaking fund levy is 1.25 cents, unchanged from last year. The chart on the right shows the district's recent levy history. The district has lowered the levy in 6 of the last 7 years. In 3 of the 4 years where there was a levy increase, that increase was the result of increases in the bond fund levy to make required principal and interest payments for voter-approved bond initiatives in 2014 and 2018. This history shows the district has been responsible with its tax request over the last 10 years and reduced the levy when prudent. It also shows that the revenue caps implemented with the passage of LB 243 are working as intended. This slide shows the proposed combined revenue and expense budgets for all 4 of the district's levy funds. Proposed revenues and expenses are budgeted to be $898 million. This slide does not include $150 million in federal, state, local, and philanthropic grant activities for the year. The revenue sources are presented in the pie chart on the left side of the slide. As you can see, property taxes and state receipts account for most of the district's revenues. Expenses are presented in the chart on the right-hand side of the slide and include the general fund budget of $812 million, 90% of the total, the bond fund budget of $53.9 million, 6% of the total, the special building fund budget of $28.8 million, 3% of the total, and the qualified capital purpose undertaking fund budget of $5.3 million. This slide presents the proportionate share of total revenues of the 4 levy funds by source on the left, as well as the proportionate share of the property tax revenues on the right. The purpose of this slide is to show that less than half of the district's revenues for these funds come from property taxes, and to show a breakdown of how those levy revenues are allocated to each of the 4 funds. In summary, the proposed budget results in a 10.9-cent decrease in the combined levy for Omaha Public Schools and Educational Service Unit Number 19. This significant levy reduction will provide true property tax relief to the patrons of the district with an $8 million decrease in the combined property tax request for 2024-25 for the 4 levy funds for the district and for ESU 19. Thank you for the opportunity to present the proposed property tax request to you this evening.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ryan. And again, the purpose of tonight's hearing is to hear support, opposition, criticism, suggestions, or observations of taxpayers related to the property tax requirements for Douglas County School District 0001 for the fiscal year 2024-2025. Dr. McFarland, could you please call the roll?
Full.
Here.
Head.
Present.
Holman.
Present.
Juarez. Kratky.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Thielen.
Here.
Cassidy.
Here.
Erdenberger.
Here.
8 present.
Thank you. And at this point in time, I do not have any requests to be heard forms. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to share their thoughts on the property tax levy and has not filled out a form yet? All right, seeing none, let the record reflect that the meeting adjourned, or this budget hearing adjourned at 5:42 p.m. Thank you.